Okay. Good evening, everyone. Tonight is our meditation evening that we do on Thursdays. So before we start meditation practice, I'd like to explain a few words on meditation and our Dharma practice. Very punctual time, 7 o'clock exactly. Swiss time, not Tibetan time. There's a saying, never count on Lama's time. This Lama's time is a different time zone. Anyway, I hope you all are well and happy. And it's wonderful you're all joining tonight for meditation practice. So, recently we have the Bardo teaching, which I explained, Bardo Total, Liberation Upon Hearing. And in that, as you all heard that, those who have got the teaching on intermediate state, Bardo teaching, how important it is the clear light, the recognition of clear light during the Bardo of life, natural Bardo of living, and the experience of Bardo of dying, and the Bardo of Dharmata, how the clear light recognition is so important. By recognition of the clear light, you will find liberation. So answer is in the recognition and of course realization of that clear light. There's the culmination of the Buddha Dharma. The Dharma is defined into two parts: conventional and unconventional, relatives versus absolute, relative truth and absolute truth, conventional truth or unconventional truth. Same, relative and conventional, same meaning, and absolute and unconventional truth, same meaning. Now the culmination of the Dharma really comes to recognition to the nature of the mind. Because the creator of this entire phenomena, the three world system or the six realms, and our present phenomenal realm, is all a byproduct of our mind. Our emotions and thoughts are byproduct of our mind, as well as kindness and compassion and forgiveness is also a projection of our mind. So it's really like it's the mind's mind display, the display of our awareness or the display of our mind, the entire phenomena. And what we are trying to understand and realize through our practice of meditation is not that you need more stories, that you need more, trips, but rather undo your mind, so to speak. but rather, in other words, recognize the essential nature of your mind. That is the meaning or the culmination that where the meditation has to lead you to finally realize that. And what is traditionally known as emptiness or is known as clear light. That is where, since everything starts from the mind, if you can know the essential nature of the mind, then it's called completion. Dzogchen tradition. In the Dzogchen, Dzogpa Chenpo, the highest of the Vajrayana teaching, Buddhism, is Mahasandhi or Adi Dzogpa Chenpo. And Dzogpa means completion, like the entire phenomena of samsara and nirvana are, completed within your mind. Since this, all the display of our phenomenal awareness, samsara versus nirvana, is a display of the mind. So when it's completion, it's like completion in the mind. Something like all the waves arise out of the ocean, and then when it goes back into the ocean, it's like completion of the waves. So same thing, the completion has to happen within the mind, not outside of the mind. The answer to all our problems and suffering and confusion, that we need to look within the mind, not outside of the mind, in other words. Our usual unskillful way of solving our situation is running after projection, our mental projection, our thoughts and emotion, and we stir up like trying to clear things, but in fact we make it more messy. The example during meditation practice, how you should not, if you want to clear water, instead of disturbing and stirring up the river bank or the beaches next to the water beach, which you stir up, you're trying to clear it. But try to shaking it up by clearing, you're not going to clear it. You're going to make it more messy and more muddy and more dark that you can't see. That's our ordinary approach to phenomena, how we deal with running after thoughts, then each thought's connecting. First it starts with ignorance, and then it starts with grasping, and then grasping makes all kinds of, afflictive emotion, which is this fundamental fear. I wouldn't call the fear of enlightenment, though some people use the word fear of enlightenment. There's nothing fear of enlightenment, but there is a fear of survival, the fear of not finding your identity, the fear of who you are. Always the fear in your mind, that unknown fear, or the fear where there is no ground, or fear where there is no valid reason, or fear where you're just simply running after the projection and running after and after and after, and what you're running after, in the meantime, you've changed your thoughts several times already. You've changed your emotions several times. You've changed your thoughts several times, and you don't know what are you really looking after. But somehow the projections keeps going outward and outward, and keep trying to find something that you would actually have no idea what you're trying to find. And if you do find, then again you need something else. There is always a sense of dissatisfaction. There's always a sense of searching and running after projection. Not only you run after the projection, what to anticipate in the future, but you also try to go back and remembering the past. simply because you want to make yourself feel that I do exist. Here I am, because I have memories of the past. Or then it will not stay in the past, it will just go in the future. So between the past thoughts and future thoughts, and of course there is nothing present. Present you can't even stick for a moment. Your mind will not even stick for a moment of peace. Your mind is always fluid, moving, never grounding. And moment if you try to relax, you need to instantly, there's a sense of something, reaction. Because without the reaction, you're afraid you may not exist, or you need to you need the feedback constantly for that ego, for the self, whatever the self is, self of as a personality, self of individualism, or self of a particular thought, because every thought, every identity, every individualism, we are grasping as something real. And of course, since it's never real, you can't stick to it. Even you're trying to hold on to it, it's constantly slipping out of your hand, every moment to moment, because its nature is emptiness. You can't grasp anything, even you're trying to grasp. So you're trying to hold on to some idea, and of course something else comes, and then you shift to that, and something else comes, you shift to that. So between the past and future, this whirlwind of confusion overwhelms you, and then at some point we have no idea. And when it gets to the worst, for a human being, then it's time to suicide. We kill ourselves. You can't take it any longer, this mind. It's not that you can't take any longer your body. Your mind is so confused that your mind cannot hold on to itself, that finally you give up. Or we take drugs, or we become alcoholic and destroy ourselves, all because you don't know how to relate with your mind. This is how dangerous samsara is. So samsara is your mind, not outside. Outside is innocent. Even someone yelling at you is innocent. Or even someone saying nice to you is also innocent. Innocent in a way means if you do not project your neurosis, they have no harm. The harm comes the moment you try to grasp to that, either through attachment or through aversion. Those are the two main fundamental functions why the attachment and aversion plays the major role to invite all the rest of the afflictive emotion, and then creates the phenomena of confusion and suffering, or the six realms, how it appears. And it keeps changing constantly, constantly keep changing, and once in a while something pops here, pops there, and then you grasp to that, again going through the past, present, future, in that cycle. So therefore, now what we need to do, we all sense that that's happening to us. Our mind is not even for a moment is resting. So what we have to do then? Do we just give up? Do we just surrender to our ignorant, our confusion, our afflictive emotion? Or is there some method that we can apply? Definitely, that's why it says the great kind historical Buddha, if the Buddha didn't come in this world will be dark, because we wouldn't know how to deal with the mind. Of course, many religions talk about compassion, kindness, wonderful, great. But when it's come to mind, the detail how to deal with the mind, that was unique of Buddhism. So why the meditation practice, how to work with the mind during meditation as well as post-meditation, how you deal with your mind. So if we have the mindfulness and awareness, we can actually do something to this confused mind, that we don't have to be what we think of ourselves as confused and lost. We are lost, actually. It's amazing that we are human beings. It's just like, that karma, something we did right, that we are a human being. But of course, we know it's not going to last. And according the good and bad, high or low, the phenomena, whether we have a human body or animal body, is based on our deeds. And sometimes when we look at our deeds, when we look at the level of our compassion, we may even wonder, to be born as a nice little puppy will be a good karma sometimes, if not a little bug, scary looking bug. Karma is vicious. So of course we have to deal, constantly remind ourselves why a positive mind, compassionate mind is so important. Then most of it, now try to discover the nature of your mind during the lifetime. When we talk about nature of the mind, it shifts the gear to a whole different level. Because then you are trying to grasp the very essence of the mind. When you're learning about how to be kind and compassionate, you're not learning about the essence of the mind. You're learning about karmic phenomena. And trying to be kind, running after projections, kindness is also projection. Compassion is also projection. And when you practice that kind of projection, it will give you the rise of experience of phenomena, which is joy, relative joy, and relative happiness. But will that lead to absolute joy, the unchanging joy? It will not, because it's still running after projection. It will be like a mixed bag. You will, as long as you don't realize the essence of the mind, there's always an ego will be left. Ego will, underneath, like the subconscious gossip we talk about. The subconscious, on the surface, seems like you have calmed down your mind, but deep inside there still seeds, the residue, the habits, subtle habits are still churning around. It's like undercurrent water. And undercurrent water is dangerous. If you swim in where there's undercurrent water, it feels, suck you into it. Boats can be sink. They say undercurrent water is very dangerous. Even on the surface, it looks fine, but deep inside, it can be very disastrous. Same thing happening to us. Until we have purified, that's what, when you hear the defilements, the gross and subtle defilement, it's talking about, subtle defilement is talking about undercurrent danger of obscuration of mind. So as long as you don't realize the essence of the mind, you seems to have practiced, kindness and compassion, and you seems to, be a nice person. But still, at some point, when that undercurrent begin to come, you won't be able to handle, the circumstance of phenomena, because you have not realized the nature of emptiness. You will be sucked by the circumstance. So, for example, in some of the great meditation teaching, it is explained that those who do meditation in the mountains, yogis and yoginis, monks or nuns, whatever, and then you have calmed down your mind, you have subdued your mind, you make your mind gentle, then you come down to the towns and cities where there's bustling noise and all kinds of things are happening. And then when you meet people, all sorts of situations begins to happen. And then those circumstances are so powerful, either it can bring aversion out of you or bring attachment out of you. Then you lose your ground. You get lost in projections, and all afflictive emotion arise. That is because not realizing the essence of the nature of the mind, you are still on shaky ground. Of course, as a practitioner, we have to go step by step. But what is important now, I want to say, is you need to realize the essence of the mind, the clear light. If you do realize the essence of the mind, the clear light, then even, during the Bardo teaching, Liberation upon it says that when the dawn of enlightenment rise, it's like the mother luminosity and child luminosity meeting, and you find liberation. Same thing, right at this moment, if you see what is called without nowness, this present awareness, without being lost in the past or without being, anticipating, running after the future. In other words, whether you run after past thoughts or whether you run after future thoughts, you are running, you are trapped. And there's a fundamental grasping. Fundamental grasping means that due to the ignorant, there is, from immemorial time, for so many lifetimes, we see things wrongly, misconstrued intelligence, that where things are nature of emptiness, instead of seeing is openness, we see something solid, something. That's what habits are. We say, oh, you got bad habits. And then at some point, we say, oh, now you've improved. Means your habit is not totally gone away, but there's a big change in you happening. So as a practitioner, that's a good sign. But the main thing is, you have to really, if you want to find what Buddha described after enlightenment. I discovered, Buddha said, profound, peaceful, beyond extreme, like a nectar Dharma I've discovered in the mind. That is what we need to discover, our essence of the mind. That clear light, when you realize, that is the ultimate culmination of Buddha Dharma. That is the triple gem. That is the three kaya. However we label that, that is the enlightened mind. And at that time, all obscurations begin to melt away. So, the result of your Hinayana practice, or the result of your Bodhisattva practice, or the result of your Vajrayana practice, or the result of your Mahamudra practice, and Dzogchen practice, you need to come to realize the nature of the mind. And can you do that? Yes, you can, because that's your nature. You need to hear that, you need to hear the Dharma. You need to follow the teacher. You need to accumulate merit so that your mind can be the right condition and right space. And then you need dedication. Really, you need to put awareness, mindfulness to practice Dharma. Then it will happen, because you have nowhere to escape from enlightened mind, in fact, because your essence is enlightened mind. When we were studying, a number of times I said, when you look at the nature of ignorant, afflictive emotions, when you look at the nature of afflictive emotion, they don't have any valid ground to begin with. So they're ready to fall apart. The moment you see through clarity, through wisdom, it just simply falls apart. They have no valid ground. So you can see the basic goodness is there, to the primordial intelligence. But the deceptive nature of obscuration and defilements are temporal. The reason the obscurations are called temporal, because it falls down the moment you see through that. Eternalistic view, nihilistic view, they falls down. So, Dhamma brothers and sisters, truly, we need to realize Buddha nature, enlightened mind. Whatever we label that, basic goodness, basic sanity, Buddha nature, enlightened mind, meaning the essence of the mind. So that is really our main aim of this life. So you must, not only during meditation, but post-meditation state, that awareness you need to integrate. So at the present, right now, I just want to explain this. This is why you're doing shamatha meditation. This is why you're doing your mudra practice. This is why, so finally the culmination is to realize the essence of the mind. Accumulate merit, so you realize through that fruition of accumulating merit, you realize the essence of the mind. So this is how, step by step, we can do that if we have the discipline and devotion and compassion. Three things needed: devotion, discipline. Discipline involves the diligence, and then the compassion. Three things very important. And the finally me is the realization of our awareness. And there are peoples don't have to make a choice. Oh, do I have to be a scholar to realize that? Or can I do it in my own profession? I'm a physician. I'm a bus driver. I'm a cleaner. I'm an engineer. I'm a scientist. Whatever, a businessman or businesswoman, whatever our background, doesn't matter. If you look at the history of Dharma, from the 84 Mahasiddhas of India, they were all different professions. Two, there were princes and princesses and kings, and in between, and to the lower level, to the high, all different professions. Because the nature of their mind, essence of their mind, is same for all beings. Regardless of our sex, race, our lifestyle, doesn't matter. The essence of their mind is essence of their mind. Therefore, it's called essence of their mind. There's no two different kind of essence of their mind. Whether you're born in Asia, there's confusion and afflictive emotion, and whether you're born in the West as a Caucasian, Asian, same thing, similar ignorance and similar afflictive emotion. No difference. The attachment is the same, the aversion is the same, the ignorance is the same, the compassion is the same, the for immeasurable is the same, and the realization of emptiness, the clear light, is the same. No difference. The only difference is the skin color. Some are brown, some are black, some are white, whatever. They're just, different karma, karmic, conventional, temporal. Skin color is temporal. There's nothing everlasting. Humans can be born into animal, and animals can be born into human. It's just temporal cycle. But the essential point is realization of our essential nature of the mind, which is clear light. Clear light signifies the union of wisdom and compassion in union. That's why it's called clear light. So that's briefly what I like to share, and everyone must really, those who are doing your mudra practice, please do it diligently. Those who are doing a shamatha meditation, tonglen practice, do it diligently every day during post-meditation state and meditation state versus post-meditation. So right now, I just thought to share this, and of course tonight we are doing our usual meditation practice, which is, each person would have different experience. To some this may be shamatha, to some this may be vipassana. Because for those who need shamatha, I teach them on the level of shamatha, and they will understand on the level of shamatha, and those who have a little bit deeper meaning, they will understand the level of vipassana. So we are learning, we are developing how to have mindfulness in meditation. In order to realize clear light, that deep nature, first we need to have understanding of our mind, how to stabilize our mind, how to create, the peacefulness and focus, concentration, one-pointedness. And then gradually the clear light, will gradually, once it's introduced to you, will gradually happen step by step. Okay? So then let's do a sitting practice now. Breathing meditation. So sit straight, relax, and your eyes gazing slightly on the tip of your nose, and gently, it brings the mind grounded, because our mind is running after thoughts, like wavering all the time. So first we need to just slightly watching down. It brings the mind more grounded instead of flying all over, but grounded. That's why from the tip of the nose, in front of the space, like 1 meter, 2 meter, whatever, you just relax. And then you breathe. Those who are doing breathing meditation, do breathing meditation. Or those who are doing like focusing on an object, do the focusing object. The whole point is not to get distracted from the object of meditation. Those who are doing breathing meditation, the object is breathing. Those who are having object, some statue or flower or something, that you focus to one part from the beginning of meditation to the end of meditation. That is the, focus, shamatha meditation. And then, having, when you see that object, or when you feel your breath, you're just simply with the breath. The breath is reminding you, if you lose the focus away from your breath to some particular thoughts, whatever, wavering things happen, then the wave reminds you, when you feel the breath, oh, I'm lost. So then you come back to simply with the breath, sit. Or to an object, one pointed concentration. And of course, thoughts will come. All kinds of thoughts will arise. You won't be able to be all the time one. But the important thing is, you're learning how to deal with the thought and how to be grounded. That's the essential thing. If you try to get rid of thoughts, suppress the thought, then it's going to rise more. It's like revolution. Whenever this system, our government try to suppress, there's always a revolution arises. That's how the mind reacts to that. So you need to have a presence, settle down. At the same time, learning how to not suppress with the thoughts. Or in other words, instead of your thoughts becoming your burden and enemies, thoughts turning against you, how you can be friends with your thoughts. That's why when you have done a lot of meditation, you can be happy inside, because you have learned to, how to be in harmony with your thoughts. That's the blessing, or that's the technique of that meditation, that you learn how to deal with your mind. In other words, how to deal with your projection. Not that you're running after the projection, but you're seeing, with the awareness, feeling, that through the breath, that you need to be one-pointed, being with the breath. And then whatever thought arises, you simply recognize. You're not trying to shut them off, or you're not trying to go after them. You're allowing it naturally, and then let it come and let it dissolve. If there's a word, of course, we have to show all the pictures by words, right? You can't say, if I say sugar, you don't taste sweet right away. If I say fire, you don't get burned. It's a picture of that. So same thing here. The teachings are shown by methods and picture, so that you have to apply that. So through breathing, being one, pointed, and then you're aware and clear. It's very important. You need to know how to meditate. Just shutting your mind and closing your eyes and shutting your thoughts, that's not meditation. That's suppressing your mind and trying to escape from the mind. The actual practice of meditation, if you have to realize the essence of the mind, the enlightened mind, you don't run away from your mind. You don't escape. You're just being there and seeing the true nature of reality. That's what, actually being organic instead of being chemical, if I can use the chemical, sort of artificial. In other words, it's artificial approach of life. Here you have to be holistic, natural. You know how to deal with your thoughts. You know how to allow your self being presence and at the same time liberation instead of being trapped up with all past, present, future thoughts. So that will naturally come when you keep sitting. Every day, discipline of sitting, meditation, so important. Then it will come to you naturally. Okay, so let's begin meditation now. When you meditate, and if you catch yourself, if you catch yourself, being distracted, And no need to go through, oh, I was distracted, this is bad, this is not good. Then you are creating more projection. You're running more and more further away from yourself. The moment you recognize, that's it. You just saw that and you let go. No guilt, so to speak. The moment you recognize, allow the mind, seeing that it will dissolve. That's how. There's no more unnecessary observation or unnecessary chasing it. Chattering, that's become simply chattering, mental gossip. Okay, meditate. So if you have any questions, we can have question answer period here.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, how should beginners practice in these times when it is difficult to practice with others? How long and where, etc.? Thank you so much.
How? Say that again.
How should beginners practice in these times?
How should be inner practice?
Beginners.
Beginners, okay. Okay. How should we what?
How should beginners practice in these times when it is difficult to practice with others? Meaning we can't be together with others to practice. So how long should we sit, and where should we sit, and how should we do it, etc.?
Well, you can do in your home, especially during this pandemic time. We have no other choice. We couldn't even get together now as a Sangha, as a group. So you should do in your home. And how long, if you're doing sitting practice of meditation, it's good to do in the morning, and probably start with 15 minutes of meditation, and then do like 15 minutes in the evening, morning 15 minutes, evening, or you have got more accustomed, more used to the meditation practice, then you can do like half an hour or hour straight. That's up to you how you feel during the practice of meditation. But important thing is you must do it properly, the meditation, especially when the obstacle of meditation arises, such as too much excitement thoughts. It will arise. So how do you deal with that? So I would suggest you open the window at that time, and if you are, as far as the diet is concerned, it is said that if there's too much exciting thought, then you need to take more heavier food, like chicken soup, or if you are non-vegetarian, meat and garlics and those kind of things, which will settle your mind more grounded. Now, if you experience drowsiness, heaviness, then you should do the opposite, such as like keep more warm, wear more darker clothes, and then especially put more fresh air in the room to come and lighten yourself. It's very important to have more clear awareness rather than drowsiness or just total wavering. Both are mistake, both are problem. If it's total running after projection, you're not not doing your meditation well. And now if you are completely in state of drowsiness, dullness, that's again a mistake. You need to wake up, you can either move your neck left or right, or your eyes left or right, whichever way you kind of like bring yourself out of that state. That's important. And I suggest sitting in the posture way is more beneficial than sitting on a chair. Unless you have knee problem, then that's fine. But when you sit in a floor with a zafutan, like there's the cushion and then there's a support for your butt. So the butt supports your butt, and it makes your body straight. If your body is straight, then all the channels and energy which flows get perfectly balanced. Then as a result, your minds get clear. So the sitting posture has a great impact on your mind, how you feel, the energy, how they flow, and clarity of your mind. It's important to have clarity of your mind instead of dullness and drowsiness and heaviness. Those are obstacles of meditation that you need to clear. Yeah, then you can see how long, how short you need to do. You can do like 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening, or or morning session or evening session or one-day session. That depends how much time you have. Yeah. Next.
Thank you, Rinpoche. What specifically should you do if you are falling asleep during meditation?
As I said, when you fall asleep, then you open the windows, and then I think the sitting posture is very important. You know, if you sit on a sofa set, your meditation won't be good at all, unless you're, you know, you've done the meditation properly, and then you are really accustomed, your awareness is clear, then it makes no difference. Mostly you have to be either enlightened or really close to enlightened. So, for most beginners, sitting on a cushion, soft cushion, you would sink. And when your body sinks, then all your channels, energy, chakras, they also kind of goes in the wrong way. And as a result, your presence of awareness will not get clear. And then you fall into drowsiness. And drowsiness keeps all your afflictive emotions and neuroses. It holds into that. It doesn't clear us away. So it's get no benefit. You know, if you just constantly sinking and falling asleep and drowsiness, you need to work that out to get out of that state. It is not a good state. It leads you to mental stupidity instead of clarity. And enlightenment, clear light would be out of question with that kind of meditation. So you need to clear that obstacle. Yeah. So have your butt support, you know, cushion, hard, sort of, not totally hard, but sort of hard, you know, and so it will keep your mind clear. Yeah.
Rinpoche, how can we work to meditate in a noisy place?
That will depend on your sitting practice, you know, how much sitting practice you have developed. If you are a beginner, you won't be able to handle in a busy place. Of course, for enlightened mind, it makes no difference, you know, because their mind awareness is never wavered from its presence of awareness. So it makes no difference. But for most beginners practice, as well as for quite senior practice and meditators, you know, you need to have your daily practice. And the daily practice, let's say you did in the morning time. Then once your awareness is there, no matter whether you're sleeping, whether you're eating, whether you are talking, you're not distracted. You know, yes, even you may fall into, you know, in a conversation, that unpleasant conversation, and that takes you away from your awareness. But very quickly, you will come back to your awareness and it will dissolve. Compared to someone who would completely get into depression with an unpleasant situation. Or if it's some kind of excitement, gets so attached, and then of course attachment brings suffering afterwards. So it's important to have awareness, mindfulness, not only in meditation, without saying, even in post-meditation, how you link meditation with post-meditation, how to keep the awareness through mindfulness. That's important. Yes.
That's all, Rinpoche. No more questions.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm doing today is Dhammapala day. I'm doing my Dhammapala practice. I'm praying for all of you for the world peace. And I've been here at the center since the last few hours and I haven't finished. So I have to go and continue my practice. I'm praying for everyone's health and well-being. Okay, so anyway, thank you. And let's dedicate the merit. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase. And may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase. And may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. In the world in general and in this nation, May not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase. And may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, thus
and
defeat the neurosis
and negative actions which are the
enemies.
From the turbulent
Turbulent
waves of birth,
old age, sickness, and death.
From the ocean of cyclic existence, may all beings be liberated.
Thank you. Good night. And tomorrow we are doing so. What time? 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock starting.
6 o'clock. Okay.
Yes, everybody's
right.
welcome. You can find the link on the website.
Okay. Okay then. Good night.